Hello, my name is Minhee Kang and I'm in the W151 Horrors of Hermes class, and I did my research paper on Heinrich Cornelius Agrippa. So let's begin with who Heinrich Cornelius was. He was born on September 14th, 1486 in Cologne, and he died on February 18th, 1535. He was all the following titles such as military entrepreneur, philosopher, professor, physician, court secretary, and he was very well known for his occult books that he wrote. They're called The Vanity of Arts and Science, which I will get into more depth in the later slides, but that basically was his criticism on our approach to the sciences. And he also wrote 3 books on the occult philosophy in which he used sources from ancient civilizations to create the source of magic, and he also wrote The Declamation of the Nobility and Preeminence of the Female Sex. So Heinrich Agrippa was born in the free imperial city of Cologne, and this city has its associations with Austria, and his family actually served for the royalty of Austria, and his father assisted the Emperor Frederick III. Agrippa remained a Catholic, but throughout his life he was very sympathetic towards the Protestant Reformation. As you know, this Reformation occurred during the Renaissance times, and you can very much see the significance of this time on his work. His work actually displayed the philosophical, religious, and moral meditation. Arguments were formed through the connections of concepts and quotes from ancient and contemporary sources. Let's get into the culture and the feminism and kind of like his impact. These arguments were created from ancient laws and customs, and legislation of this time period that he was living in claimed the inferiority of women. He also claimed that women were actually indeed the better part in the idea of creation. During the European witch hunts, he defended an accused woman, and he basically saved her life. You can very much see the influences of the Renaissance individuals, but not only did he have influences from them, but he also was very respectful towards ancient texts from origins of civilization, and he wanted to get rid of the superstitious and dangerous thoughts when it came to witches and sorcerers. He had a lot of influences when it came to actual individuals, and these include the Florentine philosophers such as Marsilio Ficino and Giovanni Pico della Mirandola. He also was very much influenced by this Christianized Kabbalism by Rucellin. Ludovico Lazzarelli's book, The Crater Hermetis, that shaped his knowledge about the occult. And another famous influence for his book was Albertus Magnus's Speculum Astronomiae, with this support for the influence of the stars on our bodies. As I mentioned, Agrippa had 3 main works that were very important to the occult literature, and his book, The Vanity of Arts and Science, was basically a satire for the sad state of science, attacking the societal and moral assumptions in his time period. It identified the reasons and causes of the spiritual deterioration in his society, offered a critique about human knowledge in different realms such as astrology and mysticism. He also attacked the learning and ability to gain truth through highlighting the hypocrisy in the religion and the corruption of social injustice. In his 3 books about the occult philosophy, it was basically like this cult magic class that he wanted to share for people who were looking to practice, and he recovered magic through the foundations of Neoplatonic metaphysics and Hermetic theology. He basically just allows practitioners of magic to take part in works that would go towards the better of humanity. He wanted to combine natural world with celestial and the divine, and he just proposed this magic that could resolve all problems based on the skepticism of the Christian faith. It was kind of just like an encyclopedia of magic and the occult. Finally, this final major work was The Declamation of the Nobility and Preeminence of the Female Sex. He just wanted to very much find this equality for women, and he used this idea that women were just superior to men. Feminist. But anyways, he overpowers the misogynistic interpretations of the female body. He raised questions about the exclusivity of women and talked about the conditioning, education, and prejudice in societies that are just set by oppressors. And he basically said that women are more equal to men when it comes to things that actually matter, such as public spheres. Up until the 1970s, he had a lot of contributions to society. He wrote many topics ranging from marriage to military engineering, and in his book about the occult philosophy, he defended the hidden philosophy of mystical traditions, and through his work, they can be found to be connected to magical manuscripts. He had very much a lot of influence influence on the esoteric literature. His works very much attacked the contemporary scientific theory and practices, and he provided us a political meaning to the cultural or religious text that was not previously given by his sources. The most original part of his work is the stress on the civil function of philosophy. In conclusion, from court secretary to military entrepreneur to philosopher, he served a great importance on the purpose of the history of the occult and magic, with influences from ancient texts based on the origins of civilization. He has written influential books that changed and emphasized certain aspects of both moral and society and the occult. Not only has Agrippa critiqued human knowledge and the societal views of women, but also provided a different view that can be used to approach these certain topics. He has influenced both esoteric literature and feminism heavily through his works. Thank you for listening to my presentation.